안녕하세요. gtaarirang입니다. 지난 수요일 이번 FA 시장에서 가장 관심이 컸던 프리먼이 LA 다저스와 6년 1억 6,200만 달러의 계약을 했다는 소식에 이곳 기자들은 다저스의 어마어마해질 타선에 놀라면서도 먼저 애틀란타가 제시했었던 5년 1억 3,500만 달러를 거절한 결과에 비해 조금은 아쉬운 계약이 아니냐는 반응들이 많았었는데요. 그가 고향으로 돌아가기 위해서 그랬다는 보도로 일단락하며 마무리가 되는 듯 했습니다. 하지만 오늘 프리먼이 다저스와의 입단식 기자회견에서 애틀란타를 떠나게 된 속사정을 밝히면서 애틀란타의 앤소폴로스 단장이 프리먼의 뒤통수를 쳤다는 이야기들이 나오고 있습니다. 실제로 앤소폴로스는 올 시즌의 트레이드로 프리먼이 애틀란타를 떠나게 된 것을 이야기하며 눈물을 보였었는데요. 악어의 눈물이었을까요? 물론 비즈니스 차원에서 선수들이 팀을 옮기고 하는 것은 상식적인 일이지만 한 팀에서 15년을 보냈던 프랜차이즈 선수를 그렇게 보내야 했었나에 대해서는 좀 의견이 갈리고 있습니다. 프리먼이 상당한 충격을 받고 애틀란타를 떠난 것으로 보여지는 기자회견 내용이 좀 놀라워서 영상으로 올려봅니다.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We're incredibly thrilled to welcome and announce and introduce Freddie Freeman, wife Chelsea, their boys, and their entire family into ours. Today is an incredibly exciting day. I can't say enough about ownership, the position that they put us in on an annual basis to go out and not only play in, but be in a position to win the last game of the year. And today, obviously, our chances for that went way up. And so with that, it is my pleasure to formally introduce Freddie Freeman. Thank you. Thank you. This looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Rookie mistake, button them
Yeah,
all
it's
up.
all right. It's official!
Turn around, give him some love.
Yeah. Woo.
Freddie, first, just welcome to the
Thank you.
Dodgers. It came down to a few different offers at the end. Why was the Dodgers the right fit for you?
Well, I think everyone knows that my story. I am from Southern California, so when it came down to picking a team at the end, I have a 67-year-old dad and I got an 86-year-old grandfather that's now going to be able to watch me play every single day. So that was one of the leading factors. And just talking with Andrew and Doc before the lockout, and then getting to talk to him a little bit more as the process went on when it was lifted, just how much family means to them is obviously a huge factor in my decision. And being home and getting to play in front of my family, that was what made me decide to be the Dodger.
And Andrew, from your side, just why was it so important to make this deal official and get Freddie Freeman as a Dodger?
Well, I mean, I think what he does on the field is obvious to everyone. The impact, we've competed against them, 3 of the last 4 years in the playoffs, and the stress, the innings before he comes up. The lineup kind of orbits around him, and you're like, okay, if we get the 7-hole hitter out here, it gives us a chance to not have to face Freddie the next inning. So, obviously, the impact he has in the lineup, what he does in the field, his desire to play 162, how much he cares about winning, all of that is obvious and goes without saying. But I think anytime you're making an investment of this magnitude, I think the human, the family, talking to him, just how much that came through, you see it from afar. But we couldn't be more excited to add him as a staple in the middle of our lineup for years to come.
This is for both of you. At what point in the process did you guys think this was a realistic possibility for this day to happen?
You want to go first or me?
You go first. I'll
Okay.
draft off of it.
Well, so prior to the lockout, I think we talked probably around Thanksgiving, maybe just a couple days after Thanksgiving for our first, we Zoomed Andrew and Doc, and we just talked for about an hour and a half, and it was just such an easy conversation. I think we all knew the situation I was in, and they were very upfront, and just they cared about where I was coming from and how long I was there, and they just cared about family. I expressed family and winning is all I really care about, and that's what they care about too. So the interest was there, and I think we got to give an assist to Justin Turner. His name popped up on my phone quite a bit throughout this whole process. So
yeah, you know, it's something that is easy to want. It's obvious. But from our standpoint, just not appreciating how things would play out. You know, we had that great conversation with him, but we knew, you know, the ties that he had, and we respected it and appreciated it. And then just before the lockout at Mookie's wedding, Doc, JT, and I walked outside, I don't know, 10 minutes before the deadline, before everything went dark, and just said, hey, don't forget about us. During this period, just don't forget about it. And so coming out of the lockout, you know, these things are always so difficult to handicap. Deals are tough to line up on. But I would say, you know, Monday night into Tuesday, we felt like there was a real chance of something happening. And, you know, fortunately, we were able to keep kind of working through it. The communication was there. And at that point, we felt like Freddie wanted to be here, and we really wanted Freddie here. And I think whenever those two things line up, it greatly increases the chances of it happening.
Freddie, you almost make it sound like a normal free agency for you, but other than the lockout. But you were the face of a franchise that just won the World Series. Most people didn't think you'd be leaving. When did you kind of come around to that idea? Was it even a year ago that you might test the waters, or is it right after the season?
I think you spend 15 years in an organization, 12 in the big leagues. A lot of memories are made. When things didn't happen last offseason coming into spring training, and nothing really happened in spring training as well until a couple of days before opening day, and nothing was really coming to fruition. You kind of, as the season went on, there was no talk, so you figured this is what was going to happen and get to free agency. And I just tried to take a step back and just take it all in and just hear what people and other teams had to say. And, you know, ultimately it came down to wanting to come home. You know, I wanted to come home. If it wasn't going to be the Braves, I think that was the best decision. And when the team that plays at home wants you to come home too, I think that's what made it such a special and easy decision.
Freddie, when it didn't work out with the Braves, I was kind of wondering what your emotional state was at that time. Was it disappointment? Was it hurt? Were you upset? And what was the process of getting from that to where you are right now and your feelings about playing for the Dodgers?
I think Monday, the emotions were all over the place, to be honest. I got the news when I was at workout that the trade had happened. I had no idea that was going to happen or anything like that. So when I got told, the emotions were all over the place. We're all human. When you spend someplace for 15 years and you see that chapter got closed right then and there, that I was all over the place. I didn't really speak for a couple hours, just trying to figure it all out, like what was going on. So the emotions have gone all over the place. And then a couple of days later, we started talking, and then the excitement creeped in, you know, the excitement to be able to come home. And when that door got closed, there was a couple of other teams that made a strong push at the end, but ultimately talking to Chelsea, and, you know, Charlie was pretty excited to be a Dodger too. So we just wanted to, we wanted to come home when that door got closed. So my family's going to get to watch me play every day like 15 years ago. So this is pretty special.
What'd you make of Antopoulos' tears? Antopoulos' tears.
I saw him. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
So, Fred, even with the Dodgers jumping in other teams in hot pursuit, up until that trade, did you still think you were going back to Atlanta?
I always thought I hadn't signed anywhere, so there's always a possibility. But the communication wasn't all there in the off season. I got 2 phone calls all off season, so I got more from Andrew to my agents in a matter of a couple hours. So I didn't know what was going on. I got 1 call the day before the lockout of a checking in, and I got 1 call when the lockout was lifted, just checking in. So I don't know how to interpret that, but that's just the reality of what was going on. So when the Dodgers and other teams expressed interest and wanted to communicate and want to get me here, that was huge for me. Once the lockout lifted and my agents and Andrew connected, things just started moving quicker when the Monday deal went down.
올 시즌에 트레이드가 있고 바로 대형 계약을 맺는 모습에 저를 포함해서 많은 기자들이 의아해했었는데요. 앤소폴로스가 왜 그랬을까요? 프리먼의 길을 죽이려고 그랬을까요? 오늘은 여기까지입니다. 이 영상을 시청해 주셔서 고맙습니다.
Charlie, we can take one more picture? Where do you want?